right? You are an investment analyst and you're given the opportunity to speak with management. You're going to talk with the CEO, the CIO, the CFO, right? You have questions about their business. Right? You want to get to the truth. You want to have a better understanding of the company and their business. Now, you're going to ask them questions, but it turns out the way you ask questions will determine their answer, right? So better said, the way you frame a question will give you better or worse answers, okay? So one thing you can do is you can ask what is called a presumptive question, right? People are more likely to disclose something when you presume there's something to disclose, right? But you have to be careful that you're going to do this in a negative presumption and not a positive presumption. So you could say, you have some concerns about operations in Mexico, right? So that's kind of a negative. Like you're presuming that there's something negative there in Mexico that they need to talk about, and you're phrasing it in this regard. That one will give you is a better question to ask than saying, hey, you don't have any concerns with the operations in Mexico, right? There's like, even if they have some minor concerns, they're gonna be like, well, they're minor. I'm not even gonna mention it. So yeah, you're right. I don't have any concerns. Right? You're allowing them or giving them the opportunity to give you the answer that they want to give, and it's the answer that you actually don't want. So this is a way to phrase a question that's going to give you a better answer. All right. The other thing is you want to do your homework, right? If you're just asking kind of haphazardly these type of questions, then it seems like you're fishing, right? So you actually want to do your homework and say, hey, I've read or I've spoken to people or whatever it may be, that there is some concern with operations in Mexico. So I think there's something going on there. I have some knowledge. I don't know what it is, but I have some knowledge there, right? So your questions are going to reveal something about your knowledge. If you're on a wild goose chase and you're asking some obscure question because you're just fishing, they're going to get that, and they're actually going to lose trust in that conversation, and they're going to be reserved in their answers, right? So what you want to do is you want to do your homework, be knowledgeable. You want to think deliberately and carefully about the information you're trying to seek and the exact questions you want to ask. All right, so let's think about the same scenario where we're at. What our question really is, is we want to know how the operations are in Mexico, right? That's really what we want to know. So how we ask this question is going to get us better answers. So it turns out if you just say, hey, how are your operations in Mexico? Which is the question we really want to ask, you're probably not going to get a very forthcoming answer because they're going to say, well, I mean, there are good things and bad things, but you're going to say, but it's pretty open-ended, and they're just going to say, well, things are fine there, right? They're not going to bend over backward to mention every little detail there. The other thing you say, do you have any concerns with your operation in Mexico? Well, they can say, well, that one is a little bit better. They can say, well, there are, we have, a minor concerns here and there, kind of a thing. Even better would be like you have some concerns, right? And then finally, kind of even like if you want to take it one step further and really get to the bottom of it, say, what are your biggest concerns with your operations in Mexico? Here, you are presuming that there are, and you're presuming that they know about them, and you're asking them to kind of list them. Give me the most important ones. There isn't really an answer to this. It would be very hard for them to say there are no concerns if in fact there are. It turns out to be a really nice question. And you've also said, what are your biggest concerns, not your biggest concern. So if they come back and they give you like a short one answer, there's this one issue, then you can follow it up pretty easily with what else, what else is out there. Thinking, so you kind of, as we go through these questions, again, what you really want to know is how operations are. But as we go through these questions, they get better and better and better as we go. You'll get better and better answers. All right. So what I want you to do is when you're going to meet with management, I want you to plan and script your question because the phrasing is important. Make sure you get the phrasing exactly right. You will get better answers if you do this. Thanks so much for listening.